Courtney a second to see it. We are waiting on one community member. Hopefully she pops in, Melissa. So we do need to start by approving the minutes from last nuisance meeting on March 23rd. Anyone want to make that motion?
That motion?
I'll go second, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, passed. So next on the agenda items, just really quick, touch on Community Cleanup Day. So this coming weekend, Friday through Sunday, I just want to confirm a few things. Do we need to coordinate keys for Saturday, Sunday for the Nazarene to be able to access the dumpster?
We have done it in the past. To be honest with you, it's full at the moment. So if it's full, they're going to have to use Plan B, which is 2 dumpsters in the Nazarene parking lot.
It'll be emptied on Thursday.
Okay, that's a good data point. So
So
the short answer is we'll work with Jeff to see about that. Yeah, usually there's a handoff.
Okay.
And it'll be occurring on Friday.
Okay, so I'll just let him know, because we've been in communication, to just pop up on Friday? To
Sure,
get
sure,
look
why
at-
not?
To do that?
Mhm.
Or I'm sure he has your
It's going to need to
contact
be at the end of the
information.
day after 3 o'clock.
Sounds good. So thank you for making sure that's emptied as well.
Yep.
Then our friends at the Nazarene said they have lots and lots and lots of helpers this year. So they are looking for more tasks. So I was able to touch base with George and told him to put his thinking cap on if he had any other projects. I mentioned the alleys. There's a lot of like overhanging trees and things in the alleyways that they could look at. Obviously picking up trash. We have them doing that Deer Creek entrance. We have them doing both entrances of the village. They're gonna work on the gazebo area. So if anyone has any thoughts or ideas or something that is kind of a pain for George and the guys, we can throw it on the list so they have lots of help. So if you guys know of anything, either shoot me a text, but I've been in communications with Jeff, so just let me know if you guys think of anything. They're looking for even painting. They're doing up at the Vets Field, they're painting a sign. So I think they're going to connect with Megan up there. But if there's anything like that that needs attention, if our concession stand needs painted, whatever it is, let us know. And we'll let him know. So that's it, I think, for Community Cleanup Day. Then I just want to touch base on, again, the nuisance process and privacy now that all of these are very public. We just want to make sure that we're not putting anybody on the spot or embarrassing anyone. Me and Courtney have had some lengthy conversations about this, and everyone has their own situation. And personally, as the chair, I am in the opinion of that we give grace to our community members. And I know we have ordinances. We have those short timelines once we tag people, and that's where we get quick results. But I think we can get friendlier results by allowing Courtney to, before tagging, to touch base with those people, to really understand what their situation is. So I misspoke in a few emails, and we're all new at this, we're all learning, and I said tag blah, blah, blah. And that really wasn't the right verbiage. I really wanted to say is start the process. So, and for that, that means Courtney reaching out to that person, that property owner, and seeing what the deal is. Are they elderly? I mean, everyone has their issues. So to say that we have to handle every single long grass the exact same way, I don't think is possible. To say that we're going to handle every trash in the front yard the exact same way, I don't think we can say that. I think it is case by case, but I don't want to show favoritism to anyone. I want it to be fair, and that's why I'm kind of letting Courtney take the ball as far as the connection and when she feels it appropriate to officially tag them.
Right. I agree. Yep, I agree.
And Courtney, you've been doing it since I've known, but,
Yeah.
and you're good with that? You don't
Yeah,
have any
I mean,
problems?
the thing about it is a lot of people, they may not know who you guys are, and it's probably inappropriate too if you're going out on somebody's property and say they don't know who you are, because there's a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, that don't know who council is.
Right.
Don't care to know what council is, but when they see somebody on their property, they're like, okay, well, you're not marked in a truck, a village truck, and things like that, so it does make everybody uncomfortable. And then we appear on the sheriff's, report, right, as a unwanted guest, maybe.
Or on Facebook.
Yeah, so just to
look at
put,
this person in my
just to put a pin in it,
Right
I want
with
to make
it.
sure that everyone is being treated equally and being held to the same standard.
Yeah.
So that if someone has a sofa on their front porch, and all people have sofas on their front porch, everyone is going to get tagged, right? So that's the thing. Every resident should have be held to the same level of standard. I'm not asking, that it's a golf course at Muirfield. What we're asking is that it's clean. That's all that we're basically saying.
And then
So,
when I feel that it is,
as long as you can
we've
uphold that.
exhausted all efforts.
That's right.
Then I'm gonna come back to the committee, I'm gonna say, okay, what's our next step?
Right.
So I think that, like Heather had said, her and I had a conversation, and it is, every case is different, and, I think we should allow that person to say, hey, I'm gonna get there, I just don't have the means financially or physically to do that. But again, once I know that we've exhausted that and we've, because again, people that are truly calling in citations, we can't ignore them.
Nope.
And we need to understand that, yes, there is a law that we have to obey by. It's just that when it gets exhausted, then I'm gonna come back to the committee and say, hey, something needs to happen, And that's why we have, at the last meeting, at the last minutes and stuff that you guys read, is we also have a legal interpretation as well from an attorney, so we can go that route if it ever needs to get to that point, but.
Right. And if it gets to the point where it's somebody elderly or handicapped or something that just can't physically do something, I heard it was either Jeff or Pastor Starr that said that even outside of Community Cleanup Day, they don't advertise it, but they are willing to help.
That's a
So
good point, yeah,
if we can,
yeah, that's good.
talk to
Yeah.
them, and see if they're willing to
Right.
help out. And
I think a good example is like grass. Tis the season for high grass. And there's a few things. Melissa, if you could sit up here. Join us, be official. It's
Just
just,
for the
I
record,
would,
Melissa is entering at 6:08.
I would hate for, neighbor rivalry, and the second they think it's 8 inches, or what's the
8
ordinance?
inches.
8 inches, that they're, go check their grass. You know what I mean? So that's why I think we have to be able to connect to people and get it solved, so, in neat, easier fashion. Again, because we don't know people's cases, but I think Courtney knows when it's appropriate. We've exhausted it.
Right.
It's time to tag.
Yep.
And then all tags, they have a process behind
Right.
them.
They have a time frame.
Yes. So, one thing that I do think we need to, after this community cleanup day, is to go back through our list, and Courtney and I, and we thought the easiest way to assign territories would just be instead doing it more of a round robin, so that it's not like you're telling on everyone on that side of the tracks, or I'm telling on everyone that's, on my side. So it's more of a rotation. Nobody has to check on each other's work, make sure, I heard that was your friend, so things like that. So we talked, and I think round robin is just the easiest way. So we also discussed, and it would be totally up to the group. I know that you are really good at taking the pictures, the original pictures. I think you're just not as worried as the person coming out the front door, maybe, as like I would be. So we talked about maybe if you wanted to be like the original person when Courtney reaches out and says, okay, Nathan, this is the nuisance list. Can you go get pictures? And then maybe round robin, we would close them with a, you know, a final picture. But I did want to throw it out to everyone. I know people have full-time jobs. But if that's something that you wanted to do, if that was something that we were cool with,
That's
I just
fine.
wanted to throw it out
Fine,
there.
I don't care.
Yeah, because I will say, Nathan, every time I've sent an email and an update or whatever, it's always, I sort of kind of needed it now. And that's, I feel like that's something that I can always count on you, is that, you know, when I'm not in the office or whatever, that you're really responsive. So I think that's a key here, because there is timeframes that have to be met. So if other people have other obligations and they have full-time jobs, and I know that you do too, so I appreciate you doing that on your lunch. But if you can, we do have a time frame we have to meet, and we're not here all until night. So I appreciate your due diligence on that.
And with that, Courtney is only in the office 3-4 times a week.
Yes.
So when we tag somebody, and there's a 48 hour rule behind that, it's hard for Courtney to, unless we set a specific day that works better. We call it tagging Tuesday, whatever. But like tagging somebody on a Thursday might be difficult. So as a group, I don't know if that needs to be a vote or just a
No, 'cause
decision.
it's just, I think, a decision, but once we get to the tagging stage, that's when it's gonna become important. So once I'm making contact with the residents and say they can't get it to it until next weekend, then obviously the spreadsheet's gonna be updated. So that only pertains to if the actual physical tag has been issued. Then it becomes a problem. So I'll always make sure that, hey, when I get ready to tag it, it may be on a Tuesday so that we can follow up on a Thursday or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll be in communications, obviously. I'm sure you guys all get sick of my emails, but saying, hey, I'm gonna tag it here, we need to follow up on it Thursday at 5 PM or whatever.
Okay.
So
And
once we
you'll-
get to that process, we will.
Yeah, and you'll just let whoever know who's closing the tag, because we'll assume Nathan is going to be taking those original pictures, which is pre-tag,
Right.
and then you do your communication, and then we tag whenever that when you decide that we've exhausted the communication piece. And then, yeah, so tagging, you'll just make sure it's done at the beginning of the week,
Right.
and we'll understand that.
And then it'll be updated. So keep having them come in, because people are reporting them, not so much through the website, but there's phone calls. Misty's taking those as well. So those will be updated on the spreadsheet as well. So they're still coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know I get them personally, so, yeah.
Is there a spreadsheet that we're supposed to have access to? Because I only get the stuff that she sends.
So I shared a spreadsheet with you, but I can reshare it, make sure.
Okay.
I did
Did
it
you get a
shortly after I got
packet
your
from
email,
today
but I
too?
can make sure you can.
Yeah, it's up there on that,
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yep, so Melissa needs spreadsheet, gotcha.
This one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Courtney, kind of live updates that spreadsheet as the
So not
nuisances
everybody
come
has
in.
access to it, like,
It's
you know
a
what I'm saying?
shared, like, Google Doc?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it's a Google Doc.
I try to get just an email out there, so that you guys don't have to refer back to the spreadsheet, because I know some people may not be looking at that. Because Heather and I only are the ones that have edits to it, so you guys have a read-only. So,
Just fine.
yeah, that way, if nobody got onto the spreadsheet, you guys sort of have it already in email if you don't have access to get onto it. So that's
Okay.
why I put some of that stuff in the email. And-
Okay.
But it's all updated, so simultaneously, what I'm sending out to you is actually what's being put in the spreadsheet.
Okay. That's probably why I was so confused, like, about things, and I was like, when I talked to you, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I'll make sure you have that spreadsheet, and whoever joins us next, have you guys been able, Nathan and Melanie, have you guys been able to access it, or
The
is
spreadsheet?
it there?
Spreadsheet?
Yeah,
I can
okay,
see it.
cool. Great, and I'm trying to get on there, and I've started color coding things and trying to figure out what makes sense to me, as far as this now feels like it is on council to follow up, but it sounds like we'll just start getting the
Right.
wheels turning.
Yeah.
And Courtney and I think the rest of us kind of said last time that we were okay with giving grace to this community cleanup day. And yeah, we talked about it with Christie West, because there's some zoning issues. So we gave the grace for this nuisance list to get through community cleanup day, to get the trash out of their yard, to get the refrigerator out of the backyard. So all of those things that we have been working on, we are giving them a little extra grace, and it's this community cleanup day. So I do think following community cleanup day, when Courtney does her rounds again,
Right.
I do see some more tags coming from that,
Right.
because we've given them so much grace.
So we'll start officially tagging, I had set the limit of like the week after Community Cleanup Day, so the week of May the 11th, that's when the official tags will happen. So I've already made one round of that, waiting for phone calls to come back. Only one property took advantage of that, and we'll have items for pickup, but just for the public's knowledge as well, is Heather touched on it a little bit, but the Community Cleanup Day is free. So there is a dumpster over in the church's parking lot, which is the Nazarene Church. And you can take your items there, or you could request to have them picked up. So you can either contact me. I think somebody shared something on there about emails to council members. Call into Misty, mountmtsterling, .org or .com. If you guys can please put your names on there. If you don't have access to internet, feel free to just call me, leave me a message, and then we can get you added to the list. But it is a free service, so please, if anybody has, again, they're picking up refrigerators, brush, if you have tree limbs, trash, refrigerators, couches, mattresses, all of
wood.
that. Yeah, so if you did get a phone call from me, and maybe you just haven't checked your voicemail, but please take advantage of that. It's free. You don't have to do anything, but just let us know what items you would like to have removed.
Yes. So yes, that's gomountsterling.com, yes. And we are gonna have a dumpster out here.
Okay. And then the dumpster at the garage will be
Yes.
monitored, I think, by the church
Yes.
on Friday.
Okay. Anybody have any thoughts or concerns on the process?
I do have some extra information about the recycle whenever we touch base.
Okay, we'll get there, yes. So next I have on the agenda items is the chickens ordinance. So as a homework item from the last council meeting, I had everyone leave with what is West Jeff's, the village of West Jeff, their chicken ordinance. Our ordinance reads no chickens, simple. So, did anybody have any thoughts or edits or anything regarding that? And I do know, Nathan, that you took a poll, so I don't know if you want to share anything regarding that. I know we have to take those with a grain of salt.
Yeah, the main thing with that is the first 6 or 7 that I finally looked through as far as the addresses or the residents, they're not even village residents, so it was a wash of the poll. I mean, I tried to kind of get a general census, but I did reach out to Washington Courthouse, Jeffersonville, West Jeff, Asheville, Circleville, all the surrounding areas. Some of them don't have chicken ordinances for specific reasons, some do. Council member wise, they don't get a lot of the feedback, but I talked to people in like Courtney's position. It's a lot of complaints, a lot of issues. Circleville wasn't as bad, but they do get a lot of complaints, but they have somebody that can actually go out and check on those. And the only issue I see, we don't. I mean, the guys.
As far as someone to check.
Like any kind of ordinance, like are they breaking a law? Do they got roosters? Do they got this?
Enforcement of the ordinance itself. So how do you decide that like a flock is too big?
Well, within.
Who goes out and does that, and how is that handled once they're doing that?
Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't care one way or the other, but just the feedback that I've gotten from Jeffersonville, from Circleville, Courthouse, I'm for leaving it as it is.
Okay. Well, when I just kind of looked over your responses on your poll, and I saw an overwhelming amount for the chickens. Obviously, I wanted the people to be heard. I would imagine it would be monitored the same way any other nuisance would be monitored. If the grass is too high, we go out with a measuring stick. If there's more than 4 chickens, we go out and count the chickens. We would know how to be able to tell the difference between a chicken and a rooster. I would say that would just fall onto the nuisance committee, just as any other nuisance. Anybody else have any thoughts?
I talked to some people, and I mean, we live in the same neighborhood, me and Melanie, but on my side of the street, I talked to about 10 different people that live on our side. I had 2 people that said that they were for it. The other people were concerned about what it would bring into it, whether it bring in wildlife, rats, the cleanliness of it being, and the smells and so forth, kind of being dirty or washed out. People not taking care of it to keep it. I mean, the people having the nicer and us cleaning up the town of it being dirtier than what it is. We're trying to clean it up, not make it dirtier. That's what they were concerned with.
Yeah, we have a problem today where we have a gentleman who has installed a flock. So he's got 7, 8.
Just found that one out today.
East, yeah.
And so.
In town?
Yes.
Yeah, in town. And so we're already trying to stay, I agree with you, by the way, and I'm pretty open about this, by the way.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're going in reverse, not forward. And so we're already trying to figure out how to handle individuals with wildlife and who are keeping wildlife. And now they're adding, in this case, chickens, like a large number of them. And it's not okay when you have to live right next door to somebody with a family and they have dogs and cats. And what happens if the two start meeting together? So
Well,
just getting that out there.
I lived in Columbus before moving down this way, and I had neighbors that had chickens on both sides of me, and I've never had rats in my home or anything like that, but my backyard would be covered in just the filth of it. Now,
Yeah.
I did grow up on a farm as a younger child,
I
and
did too,
having
yeah.
200 plus chickens, the smell is overwhelming.
It is.
And you do have to clean it,
Yeah.
and as long as people would be cleaning it, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I grew up on a farm, so like, I'm not opposed to animals as long as people would do it, but there would have to be a very high standard, and people, again, we're trying to clean up the community. We're not trying to break it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I may, Joyce Phillips, 205 New Street, Mount Sterling, Ohio. Another issue that we could have would be in the Wingate area as well, and I've talked to many people over there that would like to have chickens. A lot of my friends would like to have chickens. And I promised that I would be talking to people, and I have. The problem is, they have to be on some of the ordinances 25 feet away from your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there would be
clearance.
that allowance over there, unfortunately. In some areas have them, you have to be 100 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting more positive feedback in the Wingate area and more negative feedback in the Mount Sterling proper area.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the same thing that Nathan noticed. There are very few residents on the survey and more community members. So we have to take that into consideration. I did not do a countdown of it, but I just kind of spot checked them. And the ones I spot checked were more community than residents.
Yeah, there was residents on there, don't get me
There were
wrong.
some, yeah,
But
yeah.
as far as at least, like I said, there's a good portion of them that, that lived outside the village limits.
So, the only thing I would like to add to that is I did learn also that you don't have to have, unfortunately, some kind of a health permit or something to sell eggs and bakeries out of your home. But you are not, according to our ordinances, allowed to have a refrigerator on your porch or any kind of household furniture. That has been an ordinance for a long time, and we still let this house very close by have a refrigerator on their porch and sell eggs out of it. So that's one thing that I hope we get on our nuisance radar very soon.
Yeah, it's being worked on right now.
Okay, good,
Yep.
good, thank you.
Yep.
I thought the refrigerator on the porch was not an issue.
It's,
It is an issue, but the way that we're trying to attack the situation is what we're handling, because there's more to the story, because that property's actually being cited for 3 different things.
Because they have
So
a
if we-
semi too.
Yeah.
They're the one with the semi in the yard and stuff, yeah,
So if we-
in the flock.
If we can get with the situation, then it eliminates the refrigerator on the porch.
Yeah.
So we've got to deal with, the chickens need to be removed. Once that's been
Have
removed,
we proven that there's chickens?
yes,
We have finally
Yes.
proven it.
yes.
Kudos
We
to
have.
whoever saw that.
I've never
I
seen
just,
them.
I
before
think
them.
we also have to address the fridge. If we're gonna address the chickens and the semi, then we can't just assume that the fridge is gonna go away because she can't sell chicken.
Well, that's part of the citation. So like I said, is
Okay.
this, there's several citations on the property that
Okay,
we're working with,
yes.
so, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, on these ordinances, like you mentioned, a lot of areas will be automatically excluded based off of yard size, based off of proximity to neighbors. So automatically, there's gonna be whole areas that won't be able to have chickens. We would put a fee to even build the coop. So it's a little way, not much, and chickens are expensive. Having a chicken coop that the chickens must stay enclosed in, which is in this ordinance, must stay enclosed only for, so I know we're concerned about, smell, maybe noise, but for chickens. So I'm just, people that want to take on this project, a chicken project, it's not like getting a dog. It's a big undertaking, and I don't think a lot of people would do it, personally. But I think the people that would have an opportunity are the people that do have a bigger lot, that are further away from their neighbors, that are really gung-ho about making their own food. So I've heard people for it. I do know there was an overwhelming amount that were for it on the poll. Again, grain of salt, because not all those are residents. But I would like them to make the recommendation to take it to council.
There's nothing to take to council, so until you guys
Ordinance.
determine, so until you determine what this ordinance is going to mean, because here's what happens, if I can just put my 2 cents in. Here in this town, obviously, Wingate would probably not be an option, so, again, is that fair for everybody to live a wholesome and homestead life?
Well, if I may interject, the houses on the outside of Wingate that are more up against the trees have smaller yards. The ones on the interior have bigger yards. So some of those may qualify for that
Right.
if they were putting it to the back of their fence, because
So-
it's away from both
But
homes.
you do have to move them around. So that's the thing with chickens, is they have to be moved around.
They do.
Oh, yeah, they
Otherwise,
can't hold
otherwise
the
the
spot.
dung unfortunately builds up and kills everything. So, yeah, you can't leave them in one place. I also have agricultural heritage, and I also remember us moving the coop around every summer, and I also remember there being a giant dead spot right in the middle of our yard.
I had free range. We
Because,
just opened the
well,
door.
you could do, well, in this case, we couldn't do that, but,
Yeah.
but I think there's a fairness play. I think you raise a really good point, which is there's a fairness play to all of this, which says effectively, some are perfectly allowed to have them and others are not.
Yes, and that,
And
That's what I'm trying to say.
that doesn't
Yeah.
feel right to me, and, that sort of treats people, I think, a little differently, so.
but just to ask though, like throughout town, because I've not actually walked and seen property sizes and up and down like the side streets that I don't drive on yet. Are there a larger amount of homes that would meet that space requirement? Are there more areas?
Well, and here's the thing though too, is that if you want to make it fair, you have to be able to make the lot smaller then. So if you're going off by an ordinance, and what I mean by that is, it sounds like you both have pulled from different municipalities. So first of all, if you're going to take it to council, everybody here has to look at the same ordinance. If you want to make it fair, then you make the space smaller, which means you have less chickens. So maybe
Or you have higher density of chickens, it's the
Correct.
reverse,
I guess I'm
so.
confused
have
on the
to-
fair part when West Jeff isn't trying to make everyone be able to have chickens. London's not trying to make everyone be able to have chickens. So I don't really understand
Well,
the
should
fair
you? I
part.
guess that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
that's
is
a-
do you
that's a-
want
that's a
the
question.
residents to have an opportunity to have them? Or do you just want to say you want to make it harder for them to get it? I guess that's what the question would be.
I just think if they don't have an appropriate lot size, if they live in apartments, that's not an option for them.
But not a lot of people here, there's more houses than there are apartments.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is, that would be my first question. My second question is you guys have not looked at it, does the lot size make sense? So just because West Jeff has it as a lot size, what if Jeffersonville has a lot size, and I'm just gonna throw out a number, say it's only 25 feet, and say West Jeff is saying it's 50 feet. So you guys have to really you can't take it to council unless you've really went and combed through it. So, can I finish my thought first, okay, before I get interrupted again? So you sort of need to understand that. So then what do you do is, do you do a fee? So say it's $50, let's just say what it is. Say you make it $150. So do you want to follow what they have? Because it may be different in their community than what it is here. So you want to sort of kind of comb through that and make sure that, okay, now are they allowed to sell eggs at that point? So let's just think about that, is that some people may want to make it as a business. Well, if you're zoned residential, can you make it a business? And you can't be, because you're not zoned commercial. So then you have refrigerators on porches. So I guess all I'm saying is that you really have
Yeah,
to
it
look
has
at.
knock-on effects.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to look at all of that, and do you say, okay, if there's a collection, what is a collection in somebody's mind? Because the health department's gonna go on that. So is it a collection of 6 inches of feces that's not being filled? If, let's just say as another example, if we're giving grace to everybody, do you go and say, okay, well, clean up your chickens? Well, I don't have time this week, so let's make it another problem again. And then say the rodents do come in. So I'm just saying you have to have some policy around it, is if they don't clean up the feces, or they don't have a structure, and say the chickens are roaming now because, say, the fence is cut, or, I don't know, chickens, they don't fly, right? So what if they get underneath them and get out and they're in a neighbor's thing?
You'd be
So
surprised.
I think you do need to put around that, if, say you have a violation, you give them how many days to correct it, because they do deserve to have correction on it, right? So if they can't pick up the feces that week, what is the fee? Do you charge them a fee? Do they get a tag for that? So not only are you allowing them to have it, but you have to really structure it around, is if they violate it, what is that gonna mean?
So that would be more of like a weekly task
Right.
of somebody checking those homes. Like, we'd have to kind of have a running list, who has permits for those homes, and having somebody check those. That would, because it would be a consistent,
Right.
Yeah.
ongoing. And plus, didn't we talk about doing, like, they had to have privacy fence too?
Yeah, so in this ordinance that I passed out, it does say the sale of eggs is prohibited. There is a one-time permit, so they would go on a list of being
One
on-
time per year, one time
One-time
like for all
permit
time?
cost, $50 is required, and issued by the village prior to acquiring chickens, and an inspection shall occur by the village within 30 days after insurance of the permit, no longer than 45 days after acquiring chickens. So, I just like any other nuisance, we do have an ordinance. I do think, Courtney, you made a good point on violation. I'm not sure that this is very specific.
Yeah, because I read it too, and that was my only concern on it,
Yeah.
is that what do you do when it becomes a violation? So do you give them 3 strikes and then you take the chickens completely away? Do you allow them to have grace and clean it up?
It does say for second or subsequent, whatever,
Yeah.
violations, the court may order the offender to forfeit the animals. So it sounds like
You have
maybe
to
a
go down
letter
here.
from WestJet, or letter from Pitstick. It would be a process just like any other nuisance with an ordinance.
And then you know what I'm gonna say,
Wouldn't that
is if you
cost
go
us
to
money?
court, you got a cost.
I was about to say,
So
as
do you
soon
guys
as
have it in your budget if you
as soon
take
as
them to
involve
court?
Pit stick, it's gonna be a fee,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, we
And
do
just so
have
you guys know-
$10,000 for Pitstick, so him writing a letter and then us
Well, that
taking
says
it from
court,
their
though.
taxes.
That says
Well,
court.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously this part needs edited. So I guess a part of the homework again, will be going over this and looking at edits, comparing it to other villages. Sorry, David, yes.
David Timmis, 197 Madison Street. Here's the only thing that worries me.
Can you come up to the mic since you're really far back so that the public can hear you, please? Sorry.
Here's the only thing that worries me. First, we allowed chickens. How about if I wanted a pot-bellied pig in my backyard? Or I bring my horse and I can corral him. I can say, if you got chickens, I can have farm animals. So we gotta be careful how we play this, because we could open up a Pandora's box. And I used to help my uncle on a chicken farm, right? And that chicken waste can wake up the dead.
Yes, it can.
So I just wanted to say that, just in case something would happen.
Yeah. I do know, I've been told by a 4-H'er that it is a law that any student within certain time frame, even against ordinances, is allowed to have a farm animal to show for 4-H. So you could, if your nephew was in 4-H and wanted to show a potbelly pig, he could, but he'd have to get rid of it in about 3 months.
Yeah, but, I just wanted to say, just what I said, you got, only thing I got is a boa constrictor, but he's harmless.
Those are invasive. Okay, well, then, it sounds like we still have more to do with this ordinance. So particularly in the violation area.
Yeah.
So if we as a group can look into this, and if we can at least, give our 2 cents about this. I know some are for, some are against, but I'm more of a free will kind of person. If you want to do it, then give it a whirl. I understand we're in a village, but I don't like to take that away from people when a lot of other small towns do it and they manage it. So we will come back to the chickens. Okay, next on the agenda. We have passed out in your little packet here some other ordinances. Did I skip too far? No. So these are some common issues that come in as far as nuisances go. And it involves, obviously you see the prohibiting of animals. We have one, collection of trash materials on porch and yards. We have, what other ones do we have here?
Sidewalk, I think.
Sidewalk was one. It's just things that I think are popular issues around here. And if we could take a look, each of us, at these different ordinances, and some of them are totally out of date, totally old, and I think it's okay for us to still review and renew these ordinances. I think it is common practice to update your ordinances, even if you don't have many changes. So take a look at these. Obviously, I'm not going to have you sit here and read through them. They're lengthy, and just some of them can get a little confusing. I know myself, I have to read through them a few times to fully grasp what they're saying. So that's the homework. Yes.
Isn't that something that the attorney should be doing? I mean, we're not attorneys, but isn't that something that Pittston could do? Just a question.
Probably for a fee, but I think we can also do it for free to start. Anywho,
We could definitely make adjustments and then send it to him to say, are these good?
Well, I think he would have to review it before we change anything anyway, wouldn't he, Courtney?
He does,
He does,
yeah.
okay.
But usually how it works here is that any edits we would take to him, and then he would say, can we legally do this, or can we legally not? So I think it starts here, because he's not gonna wanna, he doesn't know what we wanna change and what we wanna add, so.
Well, obviously, we haven't made many the last 5 years, so that's good.
yes.
Thank you.
I did a little research, and it does say that councils, it's common practice for them to circle back and update ordinances, even if there's not many changes. So open nuisances. So as you guys know, there's this grand spreadsheet, but privacy is a concern. So I don't want to go down the list and say 299 blah 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 is not, their grass is too small and their neighbor called in, or grass is too tall and their neighbor called in and there's still a boat in their yard. So I'm gonna, obviously we all have access to this list, so try to glance at it so you know where we're at. But I'm just going to make it practice to just bring a short list of things that I think we are more need addressed, that we've kind of exhausted our communication, what to do next type of things. So one of those, and it was already brought up, the chicken semi-trailer and now refrigerator as well. So I'm just gonna write that beside the chickens and semis. So it sounds like, have we tagged for this?
No, so I would like for the committee to, make a determination on this, because, I can't without approval of that. Made contact with the property owner, is aware of the violations. At this point, we need to make a determination are we going to hard tag, and when I say hard tag, that's a delivery of a yellow tag by a sheriff's deputy, to the property, letting them know that you have an X amount of days to remove. Now, because of the type of, one part of the citation is that there's poultry on the property. So, we do want to make sure that they're, are properly removed correctly. As we've talked about here, everybody has daytime jobs as well, and we want to ensure that they're moved, not harshly, but that they have a place to go. Obviously, we don't want them to be roaming around or in a vehicle or whatnot, that they're not properly taken there. So
Are you
we.
saying we're like responsible for making sure they get out? We gotta
Yeah.
find somebody for that.
Well, I think we just have to allow them to have that time because we don't know how many is in there. So we just want to make sure that they're not, sacked up in a bundle sack and, taken to the property, because there is a property outside of the village that they can roam to as well. So we want to ensure that there is a way for them to get there. So I don't think, gathering them up in their car or whatever, I don't know how many's in there. So they may need some time to make sure that where they're taking them to, that it's set up properly for the animals. So that was my one concern, is that we give them enough time to remove them properly, effectively, and, that no harm has been done, I
Are you
guess is what
thinking
I'm
like
saying.
2 or 3 weeks or a month?
Yeah, so
or-
I guess that's what I'm gonna come back to you guys and ask, is, that was my first concern.
What is-
My second concern was the semi and trailers, that it is a business, so we don't want to hurt anybody financially for that. So I, am gonna try and look around some places that they will allow that for them to park there, possibly. So maybe they can take some action, maybe a week or two before they can find a spot for them to park it, because it is their business. So we wanna make sure that we're, allowing them enough time to find a spot for them to park it, so.
and
So
that-
It's not gonna be like
Sorry.
tomorrow, yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Just as far as the ordinance goes on poultry kept, once it's tagged, what's the timeline? 48 hours?
48 hours is what it says for the removal, correct. But because we don't have our eyes on it, they were very gracious enough to confirm and affirm with me that they do have them on the property. I don't know how many there are. So I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know if there's several there that they need to remove, properly, so that may take some time for them to get them out to that area. So that would be my only issue, is making sure that they can.
Would you guys be okay with 2 weeks? Give them that, I mean,
For chicken, semi, and fridge, or one, or all?
well, that's a question. As far as that other property that you're talking about that they have access to, is that access to park their semi there too?
Well, that was what I was gonna suggest. Yeah,
Let's say, I mean,
right.
it's been there, and I've been told that this was a reoccurring issue. It's not something that's new to them at all.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think 2 weeks for everything would be plenty of time.
Are you comfortable with
Well, I think we just
giving
need to
them
go
that
with
2-week
them.
notice?
They have to they are reoccurring. It was actually in your guys' nuisance like last year, that there was a possible sighting of chickens. So I think they're aware of it. I think now that we have advised them, I would say at least 2 to 3 weeks, I would say, just so that we can help them financially if they need to take it to, you know, say they have to take it to somebody's house or whatever. I just care about the condition and the health of the chickens as well as the financial part of them able to continue to work and get to a place where they can continue to use it.
If there would be an instance, whether it be this particular one or a different property, if somebody says they had no way to remove their chickens, would that fall on us to remove those in
Well,
a future?
see, that's the thing, is like with the health department, they don't, you know, if the village says you don't have them, then it's the village's fault. So, yeah, I mean, it could potentially be something like that where they physically can't do that. Do we call like an ODNR,
Humane Society?
Humane Society?
Yep.
Humane Society doesn't have really jurisdiction over that as well.
No, then we would ask them if they
but
could
we would
intervene
say-
to
yeah.
safely care for the
Yeah, so
animal.
that might
and-
be, yeah, I mean, it could
Yeah.
possibly happen where maybe they don't have the means to properly put them in a place, you know, safely. But we would get to that point, I think, at some, you know, if we need to get to that point, then we make a decision on that. But as far as a recommendation, I would say at least 3 weeks,
Okay.
2 to 3 weeks, yeah.
I'm cool with that if you're cool with that, if everyone's cool with that.
3 weeks.
3
Yes.
weeks after tagging, is that correct?
Well,
To
I
tag.
am, yeah, so.
Oh, 3 weeks to tag, okay.
Well, I'm going to make a phone call to them tomorrow and then let them know what the committee's decided, because that's what I had told her, is that I would take it back to the committee. And then if something changes, I will come back to you guys and ask you to reconsider, or if there's no reconsideration, it will be what it is. But
Okay.
there's a couple different violations on that, so we need to be maybe, you know, graceful and trying to help them.
So you're saying if you don't have it cleaned up in 3 weeks, we're gonna tag
We
you.
are
If you
gonna
get
tag you.
tagged, it's 48 hours?
Oh, no, I think I'm gonna tag them and then say you have 3 weeks. This is your official notice of 3 weeks. And if you don't, then obviously we'll have to go to the attorney.
Okay, so you
After the
want
3
to
weeks.
tag.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tag them and say 3 weeks.
Okay,
Okay.
tag
Yeah.
in 3 weeks.
Do you
Got
need to
it.
vote on that?
Yes,
Yes, you do?
I will
yeah,
make that
just to make it
motion.
official, I guess.
I'll
Yeah.
second.
Okay, that's Melanie and then Nathan. Okay, then I'll do an individual roll call. Nathan?
Yes.
Okay, Melanie?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes. Okay, next one. We have been dealing with one that had a boat on the street, then boat moved to the yard, and I do believe, Nathan, you have confirmed that it is still there,
Still there.
and a refrigerator now?
A refrigerator, and I believe the couch is still there. I'm not for sure.
Okay, and Courtney, I know you had contacted the owner, and there was some moving situations going. Did they officially get tagged?
Yes, so I called him again last week, and I think I put this back in my email, is that he was gonna get gravel on it that day. So that would have been Friday. So we probably need to make sure if there is gravel, because he said he's been accepting my phone calls.
So we need to check for
yeah.
gravel.
So gravel was supposed to be placed.
Okay,
But if the fridge and couch is still there, Nathan, when you take those pictures again, if not, I'm gonna suggest the whole community cleanup day too. So if they are still there, because trash day comes tomorrow, so that was another important part too, is that waiting till after trash day to see if like a Rumpke's picking it up, or, you know, maybe, Rick was picking up scrap and things like that, that's another option as well. So, make sure that if the boat does have gravel.
so Nathan, are you okay with following up on that one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and you can let the group know if there is gravel and if the other things are removed.
Yep.
Great. Then the last one that we need to talk about, oh, I forgot the one. Oh, it's the very top, it's gray, I forgot to point it out. The abandoned house, and I do have the address on this one, I'm not sure, it's on North London Street. It's overgrown by trees and bushes, and it looks like it could fall down. So I wanted to talk about that and how we could
What
get
would
it
you
down.
like to know?
I know that there is a process, or there was in the past, of getting those torn down.
Mhm.
What is that process?
We don't really have one.
So isn't there like a bank?
So Joe Johnson tore down a whole bunch of houses without authority, and so just to sort of cement this, we don't own the house. It is not our property, village property. It is still technically owned by someone, and we currently have estimates to get it torn down.
I hear chickens, or,
I
anybody
hear
hear that?
birds. I heard them earlier.
Yeah, they're outside. Yeah.
I think so.
I think
Okay.
they're-
So we're basically, the family who owns it is no longer working with us. And so we have to go, essentially, we're at a place where we have to go through the court in order to tear it down. Get a court order.
Okay, how do we do that?
It's complicated, and we're trying to do it through the land bank.
Land bank is the
Yes.
what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So the land bank,
Mhm.
they help communities get these projects done.
They do, yes.
So there is a process.
It's
A
not
land
quite
bank.
like that, because in this particular case, the owner has been dead for 25 years, and she has not ever opened up an estate, and her children are dead on one side, and they're not speaking to us on the other. So again, we can't tear down properties we don't own. We don't have a remediation mechanism currently in our ordinances where it allows us to go onto a private property and tear something down.
Which nobody would want. I see why we wouldn't have something
Right.
like that. But there has to be a way. We can't just, I mean,
we're
are we
not
just
ignoring it.
accepting that
we're-
this house is gonna fall down at the corner?
We're-
Because we can't do anything about it?
We're both not ignoring it, and we're doing something about it. So I'm trying to work through the land bank to get funding and authorization to get it torn down. So the most likely process for it is to go to tax sale, at which point no one is going to buy it, and then it will revert to the land bank and be eventually torn down. Now, one other element to this is that it costs about $20,000 to $25,000 to tear a house down, and so council needs to authorize money for this. Or we have to go through a request from the land bank if they have money in any particular year. Currently, they do not have any money.
Where do we put that request for the land
I
bank?
have already placed it,
Okay.
yeah.
So there is a process and there is a way to get properties torn down.
There are different processes, let's just put it that way.
Okay. Then we have Autumn Hayes. It looks like I did leave the address here. I'm sorry about that. And I think this is an ongoing issue with cars in the yard slash just totally parked over the sidewalk.
Possible living in it.
Possibly living, which is a sheriff issue, right? There's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, so they did make contact with them, with the property owner, they did confirm that there is nobody living in the house. Contrary to that, people around there said that's not true. So they have been monitoring it on separate shifts to confirm that there is nobody living in it.
Okay, so as far as the nuisance piece of the cars being in the vehicle or on the yard and
Yes.
over the
so
sidewalk.
remember in my email, I had advised that she was gonna have it removed that day, but obviously we're like 2 weeks later, as SpongeBob would say. And Melanie's like the only one laughing at that, because her and I both have probably watched it. But it is still there. So at this point, what happens is because it's on the property, the village has to go and tow it at our expense. Okay, so that would be the next suggestion, is if I could nudge her again and advise her that if it is not removed, then it will be at her expense.
Do the
So
sheriffs have an impound?
They can't because it's not on public roadway.
And this
It's on the
has
village
been
property.
tagged
It has, yeah.
and it's surpassed
Yeah.
the
And
time.
very nice, responsive person.
Is this the one in the grass?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I get another one, obviously, it would be at the village expense if we have to tow it.
Which then would fall on them.
Right.
Right. So, do you need like a suggestion of how to move forward? Or are you making a suggestion that you want to work with them still?
Okay, so as you know, I try to like penny pinch everything. So I happen to know somebody that knows somebody that can go and probably remove it, and if they ever want it back, they would have to pay him. Meaning that if there's contents
It's
inside.
impounded. It's
yeah.
impounded.
So they would have to impound it. So the contents that are inside of it go with the vehicle. So if I could attempt to maybe use that as a tactic to them and say, hey, if you do not, this vehicle will be removed at your expense, and
Yeah,
you
motion
would have
for
to go
that.
get it. Yeah.
Is there a motion that needs for that?
Yeah, if you guys would please make one, that would be perfect.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Nathan and then Melanie. Okay. And then I'll provide an update on that, like tomorrow or maybe the next day. Okay. Okay. And is there, let's do a roll call. Nathan?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
And Melissa?
Yes.
And we are running out of time here, and I wanted to give Courtney enough time to
Yes,
go
please.
switch things over. But I'll just say the other open nuisances, we have 5 that are working with zoning. So we're waiting on responses from Christie. And again, we've given them this May cleanup. So hopefully after this weekend, we get more action of what's next.
And they have been, if you guys haven't noticed.
Yes, I've noticed here.
Okay, me too.
There are 12 issues of things in yards. So whether that's boats, fridge, collection of wood, vehicles, tires, trash, shipping containers, there's 12 open nuisances on that. Hopefully these people that, if you have things in your yard, take advantage of Community Cleanup Day. Obviously that we can't take the tires, but maybe that's something we can look into, a tire day or something. I can acquire about that. I know tires are harder to get rid of.
A question about autumn haze. We was kind of penciling the cars over the sidewalk, because in the ordinance it says that, what was it,
No obstructions.
no obstruction, but within a reasonable amount of time.
Correct.
So I think we need to make, what is that reasonable amount of time? Because for somebody to park overnight, sounds like it's no big deal to you or I, but I know that there's there's one handicapped boy that rides his scooter down in that area, and he has to go on the road and around, and on the road and around. That's not right. So I think that needs to be addressed quick.
So maybe that's the review that you guys bring back to the next meeting, because you guys are homeworked to bring back edits to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So look over these ordinances that I passed out, and if there is one that refers to sidewalks. I'm not sure if this is the exact one that says what we're obstruction. Is this the ordinance for
Let me
that?
see it.
If not, just write it on the back.
We can add it.
We need the one for obstruction of sidewalks. We'll look at that as well. Okay. Anybody else?
So do we have just a couple minutes for her to give the update on recycling? Can you make it fast?
Give us a 1-minute update on recycling.
So I talked to Rumpke, and I talked to a guy named Eric today, and he said that unfortunately, when they did it in Circleville, because they just implemented it last year, he said you had to have over 600 people in order to do it for house to house. However, he would be willing to do a free one for us within the community, and they would empty it once a week.
One dumpster.
One dumpster?
One for free.
Oh.
That's one for free. I felt like was better than nothing, but it would have to be like and this is just my opinion, how you guys have the one at the garage and it's like kind of monitored in a way.
What size is that?
I don't know if it's a bigger one or not. He gave me a phone number for us to talk to him.
Okay.
So
Great.
I love that.
I
Great.
told him
Great
I have a
work.
phone number, his cell phone number actually. And his
Okay.
name is Eric. So if whoever wants to talk to him can have at it.
Sure, I will be happy. So we will follow up with Eric. Thank you so much, Melissa, for that. And as long as everyone's good with that, we'll call it a meeting.
Great.
Adjourned. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome news.
He called me when I was getting gas. It's like, hold on. Stop with the pump. And the lady comes over the speaker and she's like, are you done pumping? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Go on.
I've got 2 things going on right now.
Okay, and Heather,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
be willing to do it for you guys. You guys have been with us before.
if she can sign those.
So, but we would only need 600 people to do individual service?
You only have 546 people within the city that get service through him. You don't have 600.
We don't even have 600 people that get service? That's
Not
crazy.
within the city limits.
Wow. Where does everyone get service then?
But not everybody gets trash service through here.
She said only 500 and some people take advantage of trash service in the whole village.
The rest of the people.
Yeah, that was just